Hello everyone, and welcome to Episode 3 of Pedagogy in Practice. In this video, we're going to cover faculty flex, and in specific, we're going to look at some considerations that you should take into account now that we're approaching the end of the semester, and things you might want to think about before going into fall of next year. So in this video, this is what we are going to cover. We are going to start off by covering flex criteria, those things that you can actually use to count as flex. Then we're going to spend some time looking at filling out the faculty flex form and specific things that you need to include when doing so. And we're also going to spend some time looking at hosting faculty flex sessions and what that means for you if you're the host of the session, and also some ways that you can have some opportunities coming up. What you're going to need in order to do anything that we cover in this video is access to bakersfieldcollege.edu. You're going to need the ability to download a form, and you're also going to need the Professional Development Flex Week Workshop form link, which I will provide in the surrounding text where this video will be housed in the e-blast. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, the first thing we are going to cover has to do with flex criteria. And there's a couple of things that you need to consider. First, if you're a full-time, it is required that you complete 24 hours of flex activity within the academic year. If you're an adjunct, however, it's a little different. It's not required, and you can actually record up to 2 hours of flex activity as long as within a given semester you teach at least 3 units worth. Now, the next thing we're going to transition to are different criteria. I'm not going to spend time going over each one of these, but please read them through, and if you have specific questions, go ahead and send me an email. Okay, one thing I'd like to talk to you a little bit about are the general rules for recording flex hours, or just some very basics. There's other in and outs that we need to consider, but here are the general guidelines. First, it needs to be outside of your contract hours. So let's assume for a second that you are contracted to teach a course from 1 to 3 p.m., but you would also like to attend a professional development workshop. Maybe there's a breakout session at a conference or something that's going to happen from 2 to 4 p.m. Well, part of that cuts into the time that you're contracted to teach that class. However, you can record the last hour, that 3 to 4 p.m. when you're supposed to be done with class and you go and attend that conference. So you can record one of those hours. Additionally, it needs to meet one of those 9 aforementioned criteria from the previous screen. And you cannot have been paid for the activity. So if you're thinking that taking those Education B30 courses would count as flex and you accepted the $1,500 payment, they cannot count as flex. And that goes pretty much straight across the board. You cannot have been compensated for it in order for it to count as flex. Next, we're going to cover filling out the flex forms. And there are some important considerations I want you to think about in filling those out. So in order to access the flex forms, you need to go over to bakersfieldcollege.edu, our homepage, go to About BC. Then from About BC, under the Administration column, you can scroll all the way down to Professional Development and click on that. Now, once you land on the Professional Development homepage, what you're going to get is a bunch of different things. The thing you're interested in is over on the left-hand side where you can click Flex Reporting and select that. Then scroll down the page and you'll notice at the bottom we have different forms placed there for both full-time faculty and adjunct faculty. And you just need to click one of those. Now you're going to notice that once the form pulls up, you can edit it right in here and all this. I strongly recommend downloading it and then modifying it in Adobe Acrobat, DC, or some other program like that. Or you can fill it out here and then download it, and it'll work that way as well. Now, you're going to notice that you have all these fields that you can fill out. At the very bottom, you have 9 approved criteria, those that we mentioned in the last segment of this video. please be sure that when you're filling out your flex forms, not only do you include details about the activity, but also down here, please input the criteria address. This helps me as I look over flex forms at the end of the semester in June. Once you have it filled out, go ahead and submit it to your dean. Okay, so we've covered quite a bit already. And the last thing that I'd like to cover in this video is hosting a Flex workshop. Now, different rules apply when you're hosting a Flex workshop than if you're an attendee at one. If you're hosting a Flex workshop, you actually can count Flex for double. So let's say that your Flex workshop is going to run for 2 hours, and you are the one conducting it. You can actually count that as 4 hours for yourself, because it's pretty much 1-to-1 in terms of ratio of conducting the workshop and then also the prep time for it. So if you took 2 hours to conduct the workshop, it assumes that you probably took about 2 hours to prep for it. At least it allows for that. So you can count it for 4 Flex hours. Now, Pam Rivers from the Academic Technology Department sends out a request for faculty Flex presenters towards the end of every semester. So be on the lookout for those. I'm also going to include the link to the form that she sent out this semester in the text surrounding this video in the e-blast. Other than that, have a great end of your semester, and thank you for watching another episode of Pedagogy in Practice. See you next time.